So who wants to go first with our best?
Let me go.
11 breakdown.
Let me go first. I've been waiting for this.
And so just so everybody knows the ground rules here,
Mm-hmm.
it's any person that's managed, even caretaker manager, interim coach in MLS, to form your best 11, like those players or managers that used to be players. That I think you know the rules, but
we do.
Okay, cool. So Charlie, you've seemed very eager to go first. I'm very curious to see.
This.
Okay.
Yes.
So Charlie, go ahead and take it away. Give us your best 11.
All right, I'm going Walter Zenga in goal, the international.
Ooh, so no love for Brad Friedel.
You talk about caretakers. I mean, Walter Zenga. Are you kidding me? He was the man.
Okay.
How could you not put him? And then I went Stevie Nickell at right back. We know what he was able to do with Liverpool. Jaap Stam.
Wait. Zenga and Nickell are both New England Revolution coaches, and you played for. I just want to make sure we understand the bias that's happening.
Yeah. Okay.
Those are great choices. I don't want to take anything from Stevie Nickell.
Okay.
It's amazing.
Jaap Stam, and I would have had De Boer on the other side, so Stam would be my left center back. But it is beside the point. Gabriel Heinze, left back. Then Patrick Vieira and Ruud Gullit. So Ruud Gullit was obviously one of the best players to ever play for the Netherlands. Okay, so that's my 6.
Good choice.
And then I got Guillermo Barros-Schelotto as my left winger. Preki on my right side because he likes to cut in.
He does cut on
and Peter Novak was incredible with his time with the Chicago Fire and just with 1860 Munich. And then Thierry Henry up top. Come at me. Although
that's a lot of personalities, first and foremost. That is, I those guys would be. I mean, I've played with some of these guys and against them, they would be bitching at each other pretty much the whole game. But they'd probably still have a lot of success.
Yeah,
they'd have a lot of success. You go on next. Who's your coach?
All right, wait, but who would you take out?
No. So my whole thing is that when I built my team, I tried to lean heavily towards the highest level players that had a degree of success as a coach in Major League Soccer. So mine's going to be a little bit skewed differently as opposed to the best 11 of anybody that touched ground in the US. So mine skews a little bit differently, but it's got Zenga as well, just because he was probably the one.
Wow, you had Zenga too? Let's go, Heath. Hey,
Jimmy. I went with Zenga just because of the fact that short time, not a terrible run, and it's a massive name. You got to have that on there. Brad Friedel's. I mean, if anybody was going to put Brad Friedel on, it had to be Charlie, and Charlie didn't do it. So I got the
that's
pass.
true.
So if you want to direct your anger, direct it to the comments, box that is on Charlie's desk, not mine.
This is interesting.
Mine went to degrees. I tried to look at it through the lens of like, instead of building just the best 11 only of biggest name players, the most impressive players during their time that just happened to get into coaching, I looked at it through the lens of like building a team of coaches who've had some degree of success, right? Won something, got to a final of something. So I had Greg Vanni, obviously won an MLS Cup, solid player. I don't know if Greg Vanni went to a World Cup, but I know he was in contention at one point.
He didn't. No.
He didn't?
No.
But he spent some time in the national team, had his career in France as well. Dom Kinnear, another winner within the league, a defender. Just somebody that's a lifer, but also made it to the national team level. I believe Dom went to a World Cup. Maybe he didn't. He was also somewhere in that sort of long-term in the national team.
Okay.
Greg Burhalter as a coach, successful as a coach and as a player. So I've got him on my list. Stevie Nickell, similarly, won some like a winning type of coach. I didn't want to go with just people that had trophies only. Patrick Vieira, I don't believe. I don't think he won a supporter shield, but he built a good team. And I just love Patrick Vieira. He's awesome. He just had to be in my team. Jesse Marsh, supporter shield winner with New York, solid midfielder as well as a player. Adrian Heath, fantastic career as a player, and he got the credit for me just because he's put in the time in Major League Soccer, and with that
and USL before that,
and coming from Orlando and USL, and then USL. He might have been was he in Austin before USL?
Wait, hey Charlie, is it weird he went? Like his name is Heath Pearce, and he went with somebody named Heath. I don't know. I'm just
yeah. Savarese should have gotten it if this was the NASL 11, but then obviously first year has done well and continued to do well at in Portland. So he's on my list. Vermees, I couldn't leave out. Just again.
So how does Preki not get in this? I don't know how Ryan Nelson doesn't get in this according to your standards and Preki.
Okay.
Yeah, Preki, two-time MLS MVP. Didn't he get Coach of the Year with Chivas USA one season? Assistant with Seattle. I don't know. I agree with you, Charlie. This is Little sus.
Why is it? You think because of the fact that?
What about Tab Ramos? Like, I mean, that's another guy. I feel like.
What was his coaching career in MLS?
He's playing in here.
But what was his coaching career in MLS?
Average, bang average.
Yeah. So this is the point that I'm bringing up. Is I mixed their coaching accolades and their playing accolades and tried to build a team out of those two things, other than just being, putting the biggest names. And then Thierry Henry, I actually think he got the team to the playoffs his first year. Not a great record, and then ends up leaving shortly after. But he's Thierry Henry. It was like I needed to make a few exceptions because by and large, when I went with my model, it was going to be 95% Americans in there without shifting it a little bit, just because the Americans have tended to stick around longer. And there's a little bias to that because most guys that are coaching that are not American aren't looking to get another MLS job, right? They're going to go try to find a job somewhere else or continue their career elsewhere. Whereas most
no Ben Olsen for either one of you guys. That's that's a real knock to our special guest.
I agree, but he's definitely in Ben's words, he's hanging on the plane to make my 18 in this. My 11. Sorry, he makes my 18, but he's hanging on for my 11. He's a spot starter in this group, but that was my combination of.
I want to see Jimmy's. I'm really
all right. Let's go to mine.
It's
kind of a mix of yours. I got Friedel in goal though. I went with Friedel, mainly more based on his playing career, not his bit of a train wreck. I have a couple train wreck managers in this team. Ruud Gullit's another one who was an absolute disaster for the Galaxy during his time. I went with Cherundolo. I think Stevie Nickell's probably the better choice in terms of what we're trying to do here. But
there was Neville. Neville could have been there.
Neville could have been there. So I went with Cherundolo. Jaap Stam, another train wreck in the league as a manager.
Absolute train wreck.
I'll go Robin Frazier though, not a train wreck. Big fan of Robin. I got to train with the Galaxy when I was 19 or 20, and he was the big center back with Vanni and Dan Kalichman and those guys, and I always looked up to him. So
I might have trouble understanding these things that we make, guys, because I seem to always be off the mark of what we're trying to build here.
I'm pretty sure. I asked the question, and what I was told was best 11. Period.
That's what I said. That's what I thought. That's what I interpreted.
In terms of managers, nothing to do with success, because if you throw in success, then this completely changes.
I mean, you could probably make like a train wreck manager best 11 that would be pretty good, because you got Jaap Stam, Friedel, Vieira.
Yeah.
No, not Vieira. Hullet. Henry's kind of on the fence. So Gabriel Heinze, another train wreck at left back. I just looked at him like his playing career. Vanni, in terms of like success.
Literally in the very first one from producer Des says Gabriel Heinze out on account of how lousy a job he did at Atlanta. So I took that as there's got to be some sort of value to being successful manager.
And there's a lot of people.
Kobe Jones was an interim.
No, yeah,
Kobe Jones was an interim. He had like a cup of coffee as a guy.
So wasn't Walter
Zenga.
Threw him in there. So wasn't Zenga. But I will say Rooney would obviously be in our 11. I didn't take into account Rooney because
I didn't take into account either. He actually hasn't started the job yet, or I wouldn't say I've started the job yet, because they've lost every game since he.
Yeah, he really hasn't. He hasn't been on the sideline, so I didn't count Rooney yet.
Yeah, I had to get Preki in there for the same reasons that you did, Chuck. Kobe Jones, I just wanted to give a shout out to a player that I don't think actually gets the respect that he deserves.
He definitely does not.
Unbelievable career. And I got to watch him play when he was at UCLA back in the day. That's what I was aspiring to play to. There was no MLS at the time to aspire to. So I am very familiar with Kobe for a long time. So
I would love to see Charlie's again, producer Alex. If you
throw it up
based on Charlie's parameters, I've got some agreements and maybe some disagreements as well.
Throw it up.
Just to look at it through the lens of best 11.
Yes.
Okay. I mean, it's pretty solid. Again, you could maybe call for Neville or Cherundolo right back, depending on over Nickell.
Not over Stevie Nickell.
So wait.
Neville.
Yes,
like Manchester United class of.
We're not talking Gary Neville. This is Phil Neville. There's a big difference.
Yeah, there is true, but he was still solid at Man United and then Everton.
Don't throw in Man United because he had a sip of coffee.
No, he was there from a young age for a bit. Yeah,
but he wasn't Gary Neville. He wasn't playing like that.
True. Still made it.
Maybe at Everton. Yeah, sure.
Still playing Europe with Everton.
We're talking Stevie Nickell, bro. We're talking Stevie Nickell.
That's
so.
Preki for sure. I would put Preki in. I've loved Preki since he was an indoor player. I agree with that. Hullet, you could actually put him on any line. Vieira.
Yep.
Schelotto's one where I just think about.
What a player, though.
Yep. Go ahead, Jimmy.
Unbelievable. I agree.
Playing against him, that guy's tiny. I could never get the ball off of him. Never.
Who could
never
you
get
put
close?
Who could you put on there? I went through every single manager ever in the history of MLS. There is not a single person that you could take Schelotto off for. Not a single.
I actually
person.
struggled to fill my winger spots based on my parameters of having some sort of success. There
That's
were
why
none.
I threw
I ended up
Jones
playing.
in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like-
It was actually pretty and it's actually saying more than anything that based on my parameters, not a lot of good attackers successful as managers.
Or
I continue to
goalies.
say,
Or
especially
goalies.
wingers. There is not a good winger / coach out there that I've come across consistently. And goalies as well. Yeah, it was Brad Friedel, but Brad Friedel I don't think was all that had a good window and still wasn't, I think, successful. Zenga was the one where I was just like, what a cool name to throw on.